Hello everyone. Yesterday we had Misery release into Marvel Snap, and I have a lot of thoughts, but before we go into those, I'm live right now on twitch.tv/TLSG Snap. If you want to jump over and check out the stream, I would love to have you. We've been having an absolute blast. I'm going to be live every single day in October to celebrate going full time. So jump over and join us if you like live form content. As far as Misery, I tried her in a lot of shells, but as far as Misery goes, she to me feels kind of like a Scream. Scream can be super impactful if you get the perfect draw and the perfect line and the perfect plays. But if you don't get those, Scream ends up feeling pretty underwhelming. Misery feels very similar to that. If you get your Yondu into a Baron Zemo, or Yondu into Cable into Baron Zemo into Misery, you're probably going to be able to win the game because you're going to mill 6 of their cards very quickly, and Baron Zemo is going to be pulling some of those higher value cards to help you win at that location or that lane. But very rarely does that ideal line happen. And so I tried her in an array of different shells, and for the most part, she felt playable, just not crazy good or insane. And so instead of featuring a deck with her, I'm going to be featuring what I consider is one of the best decks in the game. It is currently being piloted by the rank #1 player in Marvel Snap. I'll leave a link to his Twitch in the description below. It is Sizer. Definitely jump over if you want to see the master run the deck himself. There's a couple of different variations. I think you could drop the infinaut for something a little bit lower end. You could drop Ebony Maw for like an Aranya, for a Human Torch, to lean more so into that like big high power movement play instead of the lockdown piece. But I do really enjoy the infinaut whenever that pops. It absolutely pops. We have the Ebony Maw that can be that big little bit of extra when you use your small movers after dropping War Machine to be able to add a lot of burst onto the board. Overall, I am a 64.7% win rate with this deck. I'm 22-12. So over 30 game sample size, which I almost never run a deck for testing it that much, but it was one that I enjoyed so very much, and I think is so oppressive and so strong that it may cause War Machine to take a hit a little bit later on down the road. As far as the deck goes, it may not look incredibly flexible, but it really, really is. Having the Madam Web, I feel like she is crucial or core. Being able to tie the whole thing together. If you don't have her, it probably can't work. War Machine is the other required card, and Legion is also a requirement. The Goliath or even Ghost Spider can be subbed out for something else if needed. Ghost Spider, I would probably do Aranya if I had to. And then the Goliath could be just either another big body, maybe you lean more into the movement pieces, but I think the core idea of the deck still performs what it wants to do. The ideal line is going to be able to storm, lock down a location, potentially do a War Machine into Legion to be able to lock them out of the game. That happens very infrequently, and that's okay. With our movement pieces, a lot of times we can win the storm location even if we don't get the War Machine, even if we don't get the Legion down. A lot of times we can still pressure and win that lane. So we're typically going to skip the first couple of turns into ideally a turn 3 storm. If we have Madam Web, we of course want to stage that, giving us that flexibility to make sure that we can win the storm location even after it gets locked down, if they went a little bit higher or harder in a lane than what we thought they were going to. Turn 4 will typically be something like Iron Fist, Vulture, Ghost Spider into that storm lane, or if you have it, you want to go War Machine, be able to still play into that storm lane after it locks down. And then we have the Legion, of course, can be fantastic at cheesing certain locations, can be amazing at just locking the opponent out of the game, or kind of right-sizing the board state if you want to take away a negative location for you. We have the Cosmo, which right now, especially alongside the Madam Web, can be so much fun to play. Dropping Madam Web into Cosmo can block a very heavy, very strong on reveal, and then you can shift or have the mind game of potentially shifting Cosmo to make the opponent not know exactly what to do. It is so much fun whenever that comes down. And then the other pieces are our movement pieces. We have the Iron Fist, Ghost Spider, Dagger, Vulture. Huge value in those and relatively cheap. So if you have War Machine, you can do Ebony Maw into Vulture, or Ebony Maw into Iron Fist, into Vulture, into Ghost Spider to have a lot of pressure in one lane with the Vulture, and then a decent amount of pressure with 7 power in your Ebony Maw as well. Overall, the list is fantastic. I'm going to cut the deck explanation there so I don't go long-winded. This is one of those decks that I really enjoy because it is so controlling that you can really narrow down the opponent's field of play so that you can win a lot of those games as long as you're scrappy enough. We'll go ahead and jump over into it. Thank you guys as always for being here. I hope you guys enjoy. More cards could have been hit. I think we can maybe squeeze it out. All right, so nothing in mid. They did go one in the left, one in right. Let's see what they went with in this mid lane. White Widow, no such luck. Into Demon and Nico. As long as they can't beat 11 power with one card, we're in the clear. Shadow King doesn't do it. Sage shouldn't do it. They typically don't run a big high end. They want to do something like Hitmonkey. We do force the 4Q retreat. Awkward game, but the good thing about this deck is with these pieces and these resources, you can usually get kind of scrappy and find ways to win, even if you don't have that very linear Storm, War Machine, Legion line. We'll take it. Let's go ahead and jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have rank 67 iTune. First location is Kamar Taj. We could always potentially get a double trigger like an Iron Fist. Sometimes that is nice, but sometimes that's not worth the risk either. And so double demons, very, very scary. Let's see, we do have the Madam Web. Into the double card draw is nice. All right, so let's do, I think, a Madam Web. We have a 1 out of 5 to get Storm by next turn. We also can almost guarantee we'll eventually be able to do a Legion. Just depends on if we get it early enough. And if not, then we're drawing the like Vulture, the Iron Fist, which are also fantastic lines for us to be able to go. I'm actually going to go Madam Web in the left. That way we can do an Iron Fist Vulture across the world into moving it out. Now with the Hazmat, we're going to be seeing a Misery guaranteed, which I think we go ahead and snap into the Cosmo. They're not going to be able to hit Misery to re-trigger those on reveals, to get rid of Hood, to get rid of Hazmat. They're just going to be stuck with that one affliction. So like an Ajax comes down, it's not going to be that buffed up. And so that's the biggest reason why I didn't like Misery into the Hazmat stuff, is it becomes, you're staging it early, so then you're just kind of asking to get cluttered up. Now, we can also rip away the Limbo that came up in the last location with our Legion, and the snap back means that I think we're going to be in a pretty good spot. If, depending on what they have left, we're going to block it with the Cosmo and just giggle our way home. Unfortunate. All right. Well... Woof. Okay. Let's go... We just go regular Vulture and that's it. Go Vulture, Ghost Spider, but then I don't really need to use the immediate move on Vulture. I think we just stage a Vulture and call it good. Alright, so the Electro comes down. Wait a minute. I feel we're gonna ship. Okay. I'm assuming that they have Misery and that they're gonna want to drop it. I think potentially Big Brain. We're gonna go Cosmo, move over into Limbo. They won't be able to reactivate it. My hope. All right, we have the Legion line. We could also just go. Let's see. Go Ghost Spider onto the Vulture, or just go like... Yeah, we might as well. We're gonna go Ghost Spider onto the Vulture, do War Machine into the left so we can play the Ebony Maw plus whatever else we need to. I guess Ebony Maw plus Legion on the last turn is gonna be our like big finisher here. Cosmo is putting in work against iTune. They are fuming right now. We do get the Iron Fist, so we could go with the dagger across the world, but then we would have one extra turn here, and I don't want to see that happen. Let's Legion, move War Machine, Ebony Maw. But if we do that, if they do hit Misery here. Okay, we don't need to find the finishing line. They finally said, no, this is enough. We're going to take the 4. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Stan Twice, or as I like to call them, Stan. The first location is the Orcus Forge. The second one is Nowhere. Little unfortunate. Not the end of the world. We have Storm. Maybe we get War Machine and we just roll into a Legion. Even if not, I almost want to snap. Like, I think we have good enough pieces here. Almost want to snap into it. Because Storm can be so detrimental. We have Madam Web to be able to shift cards over there later on. And then we do get the War Machine. My goodness. That'll be a snap. Just took one extra turn. That's fine. Now, the cool thing that we can do with War Machine here is hide it into nowhere. It's safe from a rogue. It's safe from anything that's going to steal that ability away. And then we can choose to move it out later if need be. I'm also going to put the Storm into Shuri's lab. I don't want them to be able to double up cards, is my biggest concern. So instead of 12, they get a 6-power Cassandra. We have the War Machine. And then unfortunately for them, you're going to have the Legion. And then we probably have the game in most cases, even if we don't have great in-game lines. And so speed is good. They probably have a claw, but they're not going to get very many chances to play it. They could play it on 5 into here or here. But then we have a say-so in determining how the latter part of the game goes, or the last turn of it. So a 17-power infinaut is not too shabby. Let's go Legion. I'm going to save the option to move the War Machine, so if we don't quite get the lead over here, all is fine. But if we do, then we leave this and we just throw infinaut somewhere. But I want that 6-power flexible move. Be able to be reserved if needed. Alright, so Agent Venom to the left is beaten by a War Machine. And then Kate Bishop, unfortunate. There is just, we got the combo. We got the thing that the deck wants to do. And so they're not going to be able to do what they want to in return. So no cards can be played. Let's go a War Machine move. Throw a big infinaut. I'm going to throw it to the left just for good measure. And it's a retreat after that. We will take it. I don't feel good about it, but we'll take it. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Zujian. The first location is Lemuria. Hide an Ebony Maw is never awful. And Ebony Maw a lot of times could be subbed out for like Aranya, because a lot of times on that last turn, we want to go infinaut most often, unless we have our small movers package. Then sometimes we'll go with like a small movement. But Ebony Maw a lot of times ends up being kind of clunky, unless you drop it late game. So there's a lot of times where we'll just kind of hold it in hand and not do anything with it, and that's fine. We don't need to. They go Hood, Punisher, both from the Arisham deck that they're running, and then Limbo. I'm going to Limbo this Mindscape right away. Oh my goodness, that is 2 games in a row that you get the ideal curve, the ideal package, which honestly does not happen all that often. But when it does, we make it a snap style of game. And actually, I'm going to Storm the left lane and make them maybe wonder if we're going to rip away Mindscape or not. I think it's less competition over here than it is over here, and so we're just gonna roll with it. So the Killmonger comes in, takes out the Hood. They do have the Demon, which is also now in Limbo already, and then we do get the Infinaut. So that's almost our guaranteed like roll to be able to win. Now they could beat us if they have a way to rip this location away. If they have a way to, I don't know, do something else. There's chances that they beat us. Maybe they have a Super Scroll. No, Gamora. Okay, Gamora is fine. What a bold snapback from Zujian. The flooded location is fine. Let's go with our big Eliath play. We are able to go over the top of the Gamora. And then, ooh, wow, Blue Marvel. Okay, marvelous, marvelous. So we need, I think we need a mover. I think we need like an Iron Fist for a dagger. Ghost Spider can do that as well. Actually, no. We're good. We're good in the left lane unless they have a Jeff. Have a Jeff? If they do, it's a little interesting. Here's to hoping no Jeff.
So happy.
I was having just an internal battle with myself. And they didn't have a Jeff, but they stayed. We'll take the 8 cubes, I suppose. Seems like a silly stay from Arisham. Anytime you can siphon from Arisham, we'll take the chance. We'll take it. Let's jump over into the next one. All right, next up we have Butt. And hopefully we do anything but give them our cubes. The first location is Icebox. We do have Storm. We have the higher cost Iron Fist. I would rather that be hit than the Storm, though, honestly. And then X-Mansion, which the last time X-Mansion came down, I'm having PTSD flashbacks of how bad that was for us with the Moon Knight taking away what we wanted to be able to have. We lose our dagger, so they're running a mill package. A little bit scary, but also a little bit manageable in most cases. Do we want the X-Mansion Casino? Are we feeling lucky? Do we want to roll the dice? Yeah, we're going to roll the dice. Let's go Storm in the right lane. The Baron Zemo is going to pull... Oh, nice for them. Our Madam Web. They can shift these around, but they can do a Misery here to re-mill another card, re-trigger Baron Zemo, which is really good because even though this is capped out, it re-triggers this, kills it, and then re-triggers this, which is nice. We do also get the upside of the of this line, and we have the... We snap the... We gotta snap it. There's no way we don't snap this. We're gonna snap the War Machine into Legion, into however we finish from there. Now, Butt is a really good player, but I'm hoping they're not able to counter us. I'm hoping this is Misery. They take out our Cosmo and then pull in our Goliath, and then we're left with our Infinaut for the final turn. Okay, so single card in the right, single in left. So it's not the Misery, it's Hood. Wow, okay. Hood is fine here. And then the Gladiator pulling in our Goliath, which is not what they wanted to see. I do wish it was the Infinaut, but that is not a bad option either. Well, what an ugly laugh. I apologize for anybody that had to hear it. We have the Legion. Let's go ahead and throw it into the flooded lane. All in a day. We have priority, so they could change... they couldn't. They could change like X-Mansion, but that would be the only one that gets to be changed. All right, so the Yondu move mid. They go Shang-Chi in the left. Mockingbird left. Okay. Ooh. Okay. Yeah, we'll take it. We'll take the 2 cubes from Butt. And whenever I can beat Butt with a deck, that's when I know that it's a solid deck indeed.